I'm Nadine Yanis with your Fox 4 digital update. Fort Myers police are investigating a late afternoon shooting on this Thursday. Take a look at your screen, Wood. This is happening at the Burnwood Trace Apartments, where officers were on scene this afternoon. Here's what we know so far. Fort Myers police confirming that a man was shot and at least one person has been detained. Crime scene tapes surrounded the entrance to the Burnwood Trace apartment complex. This right off of 6 Mile Cypress Road, down the road from the shops at Village Walk. Of course, Fox 4 is working to find out what happened here and the condition of the victim. Also, we're taking you to I-75. This was the scene Thursday evening. The area we're talking about is on the southbound lanes just before mile marker 126. The left lane had been blocked for more than an hour. We saw these backups throughout the entire newscast here at Fox.
The pharmaceutical industry is struggling to keep up with the demand for Adderall tonight.
It's a real problem because we have patients in need with prescriptions that can't get them filled.
What's being done about the shortage of the ADHD drug in high demand? Plus, the new Charlotte County school superintendent is prioritizing school safety. The controversial program he said the school board approved just this week. And no water will be released from Lake Okeechobee.
Native Lake O is a little precarious right now.
How this could lead to algae blooms in Southwest Florida this summer.
Live from Southwest Florida, this is Fox 4 News at 10.
Well, thank you for joining us for Fox 4 News at 10. I'm Nadine Yanis. It has been a hot week with some parts of Southwest Florida even under heat advisories. But with the Father's Day weekend almost here, the question is there relief in sight? To answer that, let's bring in Fox 4 certified meteorologist Katie Walls, kicking off our coverage tonight. Hey, Katie.
Thanks so much. Overall, yes, we will be seeing more relief in the form of rain over the weekend. That said, before those showers and storms fire up, we're still going to be dealing with heat index values pushing toward the triple digits, even Saturday into Sunday. But looking ahead to tomorrow, once again, Collier County under that heat advisory until 7 o'clock. So basically, the National Weather Service in Miami, which covers this jurisdiction here in Collier, Hendry, as well as Glades, bottom line, those heat index values, which we are expecting to climb toward 106 in Golden Gate, 105 for Marco Island, and 105 for Immokalee, just too dangerous for prolonged outdoor exposure, especially for the afternoon. Now, keep in mind, what we've been seeing, we've been hitting 100 degrees as a heat index as early as 11 a.m. and then it only goes up from there. So tomorrow afternoon, regardless of where you are, just plan for those heat index values once again to climb as high as 106 degrees. And then looking ahead through the weekend, there you go, still hugging those triple digit marks. We'll talk more about those increasing rain chances over the weekend and how they can impact you next.
We found increased numbers of students that require ADHD drugs as part of their therapy.
More demand, but not enough supply. Health officials say Adderall is now difficult to come by right here in Southwest Florida. Fox 4's Domingo Murray joining us live in studio with a look at why this shortage started in the first place and what is now being done about it. Domingo, what did Lee Health leaders tell you today?
Nadine, there are many reasons why health leaders at Lee Health say it's difficult to find Adderall tonight. They say it's easier to get a prescription, more people are noticing their need for it, and the pharmaceutical industry is just struggling to keep up.
Any pharmacist in Southwest Florida knows that this is a problem issue.
It's simple economics, not enough supply to meet the demand for Adderall in Southwest Florida, as explained by John Armistead, the director of pharmacy at Lee Health.
Telehealth has spurred that demand in that now that people can get appointments via telehealth instead of actual physician appointments, we've seen increased number of prescriptions.
Another thing driving demand up, parents seeing the need for themselves stuck at home with their kids during the pandemic.
And now as they reacclimate to school, we found increased numbers of students that require ADHD drugs as part of their therapy to really perform well in society and in schools.
The FDA putting out a notice there's a shortage of the drug back in October of 2022. And 8 months later, their website still shows it's a problem. Some companies, as you see on the FDA's website, showing the highly demanded drug not available until April, May, some even early June. The FDA telling Fox 4 in a statement it's simply a supply issue with Big Pharma. Quote, manufacturers are working to meet the demand and the FDA is helping with anything we can do to increase supply.
We've seen difficulties with the Food and Drug Administration approving new products. We've found difficulty in the Drug Enforcement Agency in allocating larger amounts to be made, as well as some manufacturers have dropped out of the market in making these drugs.
The FDA says a new drug manufacturer, U.S. Pharma Win-Loss, is joining the market, but its website says it won't be available until the end of August.
It's a real problem because we have patients in need with prescriptions that can't get them filled.
Until supply is restored, the FDA says people should work with their physicians to find alternative therapies, including available generics or extended release versions of amphetamine mixed salts.
All right, Dominga, thank you for that important update tonight. Well, developing out of Fort Myers, where police say a man was hurt in a shooting at the Burnwood Trace Apartments this afternoon. Fort Myers police say they do have the suspected gunman in custody tonight, though detectives are still investigating how it happened. Of course, we will keep you updated on air and online as we learn more. Also, all lanes are back open on I-75 after a crash near mile marker 125 in Lee County. This happening between Terminal Access Road, which was the exit for RSW, and Corkscrew Road. You can see what it looked like on your left here, as at one point all lanes were blocked right at the time of busy rush hour. This all happening around 5 o'clock today. But now, as you see on your right, the traffic is flowing once again. Tonight, we're also learning more about the gunman accused of killing 2 people and shooting another in a Lehigh Acres neighborhood yesterday morning. Court documents now show that the suspected shooter was in the middle of a civil lawsuit over who owned the home when the shooting went down. And listen to this, a hearing was actually scheduled for the very same day that he opened fire. Now, according to court documents, 45-year-old Yohani Lazaro is now being sued by the woman who says she owns the home on 11th Terrace. According to the complaint, Lazaro tried to file a quitclaim deed in February of 2020, which would have transferred ownership of the home to him, but it was invalid due to a spelling error. The complaint says Lazaro refiled that deed in August of 2021, but the homeowner claims witnesses listed on the document were never actually there during the signing, therefore claiming that the home still belongs to her. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is still investigating what happened in that shooting and will not confirm whether this civil lawsuit is connected to what happened there. Also, Charlotte County Public Schools has a new superintendent tonight, and he's already making major moves, saying the school board approved a new Guardian program Tuesday, which will allow the district to hire armed guards on campuses. Mark Vianello says it's all part of his plan to improve school safety. The framework of the program is not yet clear, but we do know that the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office has been following district discussions about it. As for a timeline here, Vianello says that he hopes to get this program in place as soon as possible.
And that is a tool that can help keep our students and our employees and our visitors to our schools safe.
Vianello also says other priorities in his new role is focusing on filling 70 teacher vacancies, student investment after graduation, aligning school programs with the workforce, and of course, academic achievement. Also, demolition is now taking place on parts of Fort Myers Beach Elementary School after Hurricane Ian caused extensive damage on campus. The Lee County School District says they have to remove the outlining buildings, several of these buildings that you see here, for students' safeties. Now, a Naples construction company will be in charge of demolishing building 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Historic building number 2 will stay up. All of this part of a larger $5.8 million plan to rebuild the school. The money will go towards renovations of the historic building, a permanent cafeteria, and other improvements. Students are expected to head back to campus in the fall. We're talking in November. Well, tonight, more pushback from environmental groups calling for Lee County commissioners to reject a proposal to allow the South Seas Resort to build higher and get rid of density requirements on Captiva Island. Now, commissioners are holding a public hearing next week over proposed changes to land development codes on Captiva. The changes would allow South Seas Resort to construct their buildings taller than before, up to 75 feet high. South Seas Resort says the changes could make their property more resilient in future hurricanes. But the Sanibel Conservation Foundation says that other groups have also written a letter to commissioners saying that they are concerned about what this would mean for the quaint feel of the island and for the safety of the wildlife there.
So adding another story to your house isn't going to make you more resilient to storm surge. So for when people are saying that this is being done to protect from future hurricanes, I just don't see a connection there.
The Sanibel City Council met yesterday, voting unanimously to send a letter to Lee County commissioners, also in support of flat out rejecting these code changes. Lee County leaders telling us tonight that South Seas has not yet filed a zoning application, but that when they do, they will be required to hold a public meeting about it. Also, construction for the new Big Carlos Pass Bridge officially started today. The more than $90 million project will include a fishing pier and pedestrian and bike-friendly features, and the new bridge will have a 60-foot clearance over the Big Carlos Pass. Lee County commissioners explain why that height is important.
This is a very important piece. I think what's important about this bridge itself is that it's going to be a fixed span, so there won't be any, drawbridge. And that's very important for ingress and egress, especially for emergency vehicles and in times of disaster.
Construction on the new bridge is expected to be complete in the summer of 2026. Drivers will still be able to use this old bridge while construction is underway. Well, Fort Myers' first ever LGBTQ+ community center opens its doors tomorrow morning. Visuality Florida and Pride Southwest Florida are teaming up to create an easily accessible center for all. Now, according to the president there, Adam Larrabee, the center will be used for education, events, and a safe space for the public, all in a time of political debate against the LGBTQ+ community.
Education and exposure, I think, is the #1 key to see that, we are here, we're taking up space, we are important, we matter, and we want to show others that we're not, something to be feared.
The community center signed a 2-year lease for the current building, but hopes to outgrow into a bigger space after that agreement ends. Well, the Sanibel Lighthouse still standing was such a symbol of hope for us here in Southwest Florida after Ian, and tomorrow you can go back to the beach to see it up close. What to expect as the city prepares to reopen Lighthouse Beach. But if your weekend plans include getting out on the water on the Caloosahatchee River, you're going to want to stick around after the break. We're going to have an update from water experts on the blue-green algae blooms seeping into our waterways. Katie.
And for anybody heading out this weekend, just a heads up, showers and storms will be affecting most of Southwest Florida. Rain chances really going up both Saturday into Sunday. We'll talk about that timeline and potential impacts you could see on Father's Day weekend next.
Weekends.
So despite this sign right here that says beach closed, and this sign that says beach closed, or this sign, or even that sign, the city of Sanibel says tomorrow Lighthouse Beach Park will be open.
Getting the debris off the beaches, filling in any voids and such.
It took checking off a lot of requirements for Sanibel Mayor Richard Johnson to finally announce that Lighthouse Beach Park,
our last public access area on Sanibel,
is ready to reopen and, according to Mayor Johnson, capable of handling the traffic that comes with it.
All of our parking lots, with one exception, and that's the parking lot over at the fishing pier. All the rest of our parking lots are open and ready to receive guests.
So we're just sitting outside the closed entrance to the Lighthouse Beach Park right now, and it is a hot one here on Sanibel. The Fox 4 weather app says it's 91 degrees outside, and I guarantee it feels even hotter than that. So we expect a lot of people here on island today to try to get as close to the water as they can.
So we've just been scouting beaches.
Lines of cars, some learning for the first time the Lighthouse Beach will reopen.
That's exciting, honestly, because I've been waiting to see just how different the topography looks.
Others coming back for the first time since the storm.
Day before the hurricane hit, they were evacuated off.
Is traffic, you think, going to be a concern maybe moving forward tomorrow?
Well, I would guess that it would be, but I mean, under normal circumstances, when isn't it for Sanibel? And they navigate it as well as you can.
For businesses, Mayor Johnson says reopening Lighthouse Beach should help them get back on track. But for others, Lighthouse Beach shines a path back to all the things that they love about the little island.
I like Sanibel a lot because the water's clear, there's a lot of animals to fish.
Who catches more fish, you or your dad?
Neither of us. We don't fish.
On Sanibel Island, Colton Chavez, Fox 4.
Ah, he is so cute. Well, if you are still fighting with your insurance company over Hurricane Ian claims, another opportunity to settle the claim in person is coming to Southwest Florida. The state announcing it is bringing back its insurance villages later this month. They will be held in Fort Myers on June 27th, Punta Gorda on the 28th, and then again in Punta Gorda on the 29th. You'll be able to meet with your property insurer face-to-face to resolve any outstanding claims, and for some, I've spoken to them, you could even get a check on the spot. The National Flood Insurance Program and more than a dozen insurers are expected to be there, even FIGA, who took over any open claims from those insurance companies that have since gone insolvent. So if you plan on going, you should bring your driver's license, insurance cards, and documentation of any property damage. Also tonight, we are learning that the Army Corps of Engineers is not releasing water from Lake Okeechobee into the Caloosahatchee. And the big reason is because of this, all of that blue-green algae that is now spanning 60% of the lake tonight that is covered in those blooms. All of that blue-green algae is now being fed by rain runoff and warmer temperatures. But since the Army Corps is not releasing water into the Caloosahatchee, water levels in Lake Okeechobee will rise, and the risk of damaging water releases later this summer will increase. The Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation says Army Corps is going to have to get creative in how they lower those levels.
The rainy season continues and we're still getting that basin runoff, and we get to a point where we need to make lake releases, then that's only going to exacerbate the situation.
A large release from Lake O would increase nutrients in the river, feeding more blooms, damaging oyster beds, and possibly feeding new algal blooms in the Gulf. And we've already seen those current blooms in the Caloosahatchee that led to numerous health alerts this week. And the two things that play a role here are the runoff and rainy season, which we're in right now, and the warmer temperatures, which clearly we're seeing this week.
Exactly. The nitrates, the phosphates, the heat, everything just helps those algae blooms to do just that. The good news, though, red tide, not a concern. So
love to hear that.
Great news for our friends heading to the beach. Say tomorrow. Tomorrow's a pretty nice day. Showers and storms few and far between, though. That's not going to be the case as we head, unfortunately, into the holiday weekend. Maybe you want to celebrate Father's Day at the coastline. Just a heads up, those storm chances will be increasing. Meanwhile, today's high temperatures 93 across the map. Of course, it felt 10 to 15 degrees hotter. So a big concern there. And even right now, still feeling more like 94 degrees in Fort Myers when you factor the humidity in with the temperature. Punta Gorda right now feeling more like 92. Let's take a live look outside at Naples, where it's feeling more like 98 degrees at this hour from the Bay Bayfront Inn in downtown. Just enjoying a mostly clear to partly cloudy sky. Everything nice and quiet right now in downtown Naples. And for the most part, across Southwest Florida, conditions have stayed pretty quiet. Where we had those showers and storms earlier today, they were really focused farther inland, Glades and northeastern Hendry County, especially in and around Lake Okeechobee. It's really been our focal point as of late, but things will start to change as we head into tomorrow. For example, we are watching this thunderstorm complex right now diving out of North Florida, but notice as it works its way into Central Florida, it is dying out. Not worried about this affecting us necessarily. Worst case scenario, we see a couple of sprinkles from it by tomorrow morning. What it will be doing, though, is bringing down more cloud cover, so that is something you will be noticing more of as we head into tomorrow morning. So speaking of which, right here, more clouds, 7 a.m. Could see a couple of spotty showers in and around Charlotte, Sarasota, and DeSoto counties. Otherwise, showers and storms for tomorrow, they will stay isolated. Your rain chances throughout the day, both the morning into the afternoon, running at just 30%. But heading into the evening, that's when we could see some of those storms roll through. So heads up, especially between 6 to 8 p.m. That's when we will see that better opportunity for scattered showers and storms here across Southwest Florida. I'll be tracking those for you starting on Fox 4 News at 5. Then as we look ahead to your Saturday, that's when things start to change up big time. We'll start to see more waves of energy roll through, higher rain probabilities. So looking ahead to the afternoon, this is for your Saturday afternoon. Showers and storms becoming a bit more likely. Rain chances for Saturday going up to 70%. And the weekend won't be a total washout. We will see some dry slots for sure. But even heading into your Sunday into the afternoon, those rain chances will stay elevated, running around 70%. Let's check on the tropics now. You might have heard about a new wave of energy that's forecast to roll off the coast of Africa. It holds a 30% probability of further development over the course of the next week. Plenty of time to monitor this wave. There is no reason to worry about it just yet. This is something we're watching, not something that we're worried about, as a lot can happen over the course of the next 7 days. Of course, we here at the Fox 4 Weather Center will continue to keep you updated as new data arrive. For tonight, mostly clear skies, becoming mostly cloudy by daybreak. 79 degrees is where we'll start off the day, up to 93 for the afternoon, but feeling more like 103. Then over the weekend, heads up for those scattered showers and storms both Saturday and Sunday.
All right, Katie. Well, listen to this. The Beatles are planning on recording a new album featuring John Lennon. You might be wondering, how in the world? Well, it's all thanks to new AI technology. How does it work? And more importantly, how can you distinguish what is real or what is artificial intelligence? We have answers from Southwest Florida experts coming up. Well, artificial intelligence is taking over. This week, we heard the Beatles will use it to record a new album featuring John Lennon. But if Paul McCartney hadn't said that they were using old samples of Lennon's voice, would we have known, or would we think it was just all lost in the archives? AI, not easy to spot. But Vanessa Ariza with our script station, WFTS in Tampa, spoke with an AI expert at FGCU who says we don't need to fear these changes, rather lean into them.
From your cell phone's MapQuest to your Amazon order and even Alexa.
Alexa, will AI take over the world?
I don't want to take over the world.
AI is everywhere. It seems the talk has ramped up after the launch of ChatGPT, an AI chatbot. But Dr. Chris-Ann Reilly with Florida Gulf Coast University says AI has been around for decades.
It's been there for a long time. And you know what? Most people don't know. AI's been around since the 1950s.
Dr. Reilly says we're in the upswing of AI, as is talk of what AI could do or become. Fear of it taking over the world, ruining humanity, or put simply, taking your job. Sure, AI can get a lot of tasks done, cutting down on labor costs. But what it can't do, Dr. Reilly says, is add an emotional connection.
There are certain things that make us uniquely human. For example, our emotional intelligence. AI does not have the capability to understand and convey emotions at this point. We are so far away from that.
An added fear is scams connected to AI. While it's hard to detect some more than others, Dr. Reilly says we need to trust our gut, like we always have.
I think in many respects, AI is going to point us towards learning to rely on our intuition, listening to the intuition and taking action on that.
Love it or hate it, AI isn't going anywhere. Dr. Reilly says what we need to do is lean in and learn.
Well, Governor Ron DeSantis approving the state's largest spending plan in history today, where the nearly $117 billion is going in Florida and how it could impact your wallet. And the man convicted of vehicular homicide for hitting and killing a 9-year-old boy 7 years ago just got the maximum prison sentence for distracted driving. What makes this case historic coming up?
if we go home every day without our child. And, you know, there are consequences to actions.
Justice for one Florida family as the man convicted of hitting and killing a 9-year-old with his car nearly 7 years ago it gets the maximum sentence. Why this case is the first of its kind in Florida as Fox 4 News at 10 continues.
Live from Southwest Florida, this is Fox 4 News at 10.
I'm Nadine Yanis. We begin this half hour, though, with the largest state budget in Florida history now signed. Governor Ron DeSantis approving the $116.5 billion spending plan today for the next fiscal year, which starts in July, so a few weeks away. It does include $4 billion for transportation projects to relieve traffic congestion, $1.6 billion for further Everglades and water protection. K-12 funding hit a new high in this budget with more money for teachers and students, though critics say the state still lags behind its peers. Taxpayers are also getting a $2.7 billion break here, most of it via tolls, tax holidays, plus permanent sales tax cuts on things like baby supplies, diapers, and oral hygiene products, all in what DeSantis says is to fight inflation.
And why has it happened? Because Washington has borrowed, spent, and printed trillions and trillions of dollars since March of 2020. I mean, you can't just do that and think that there's not going to be any ramifications.
The governor also vetoed more than $500 million in spending. Some Democrats criticized the move, saying many of the cuts appear to be from their own districts. The House Minority Leader said in a statement, quote, Ron DeSantis and his veto pen made Florida worse off today, end quote. Well, there are now 3 Florida men vying for the White House in 2024. We first reported last night at 10 that Miami Mayor Francis Suarez officially jumped into the race. He filed his paperwork yesterday, and today, in a literal ad about running, the GOP city leader made his official announcement online.
I have always been a runner.
Suarez then told Good Morning America that he can unify the country and suggested that former President Donald Trump's handling of the classified documents was wrong. Suarez is a controversial figure in Republican politics. That's because in 2018, he voted for Democrat Andrew Gillum over Ron DeSantis. He didn't support Trump in 2016 or 2020, and he's also drawn fire for crossing swords with Governor over things like COVID. Political pundits think Suarez is a long shot, but that he does bring youth and a Hispanic voice to a long list of GOP nominees. Others say the mayor's run may really be about the next presidential cycle. We're talking 2028, not so much 2024.
That's probably the move for Francis Suarez, is to raise his national profile now and perhaps run again in 2028 or 2032.
In the meantime, the addition of Suarez to an already crowded field likely will further split the vote here. That'll benefit one Florida man in particular, the former president, who is still leading in the polls. Meanwhile, the 2 leading Republican presidential candidates continue to throw punches at each other this time over Trump's 2018 criminal justice reform bill. Trump's First Step Act was praised at the time by both Republicans and Democrats. It addressed racial inequality in the criminal justice system, but now the legislation has come under attack from conservatives who argue it contributed to escalating crime across the nation. In an interview with conservative commentator Ben Shapiro, DeSantis vowed to repeal it.
The Trump administration, he enacted a bill, basically a jailbreak bill. It's called the First Step Act.
A spokesperson for Trump's super PAC accused DeSantis of flip-flopping on this issue, saying that he previously praised Trump for fighting crime, adding, quote, he will say whatever it takes to win, end quote. We have new answers tonight as to why the Surfside condo collapsed 2 years ago, killing 98 people right here in the Sunshine State. Investigators now say the pool deck failed to comply with the original building codes and standards. Investigators with the National Institute of Standards and Technology say many areas of the pool deck showed signs of corrosion and misplaced reinforcement. Although their official report on the cause isn't expected until 2025, the 12-story building was 40 years old when it collapsed on June 24th, 2021. A Broward County officer testified today that former Marjory Stoneman Douglas School Resource Officer Scott Peterson did not follow his active shooter training during the mass shooting in Parkland that left 17 people dead. Broward County Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Samaru said Peterson ignored several years of training and active shooter simulations. Now, he is on trial for failing to engage the shooter in the Parkland shooting in 2018. Samaru told jurors his training required him to do so.
In any of the training that you reviewed, approved, been part of, or taught, were you ever trained to stay during an active shooting situation in the same spot for 48 minutes?
No, sir. You seek cover if you're getting live fire. If not, you make movements towards the target or the threat.
The 60-year-old could be sentenced to life in prison if a jury convicts him of felony child neglect. Well, tonight a man has learned his fate in the first ever cell phone-related distracted driving trial that went to trial, resulted in a guilty verdict right here in the state of Florida. In April, Gregory Andriadis was convicted of vehicular homicide and reckless driving for a 2016 crash that killed 9-year-old Logan Shearer. Tonight, he received the maximum sentence. Logan's parents and witnesses say that Andriadis was using his cell phone and he was distracted when he crashed into them on I-75 in Hernando County, causing a chain reaction. Andriadis was sentenced to 30 years in prison today, as well as permanent revocation of his driver's license. During his sentencing hearing, he spoke publicly for the first time about the crash. He apologized to Logan's family and the pain that he has caused. Logan's parents responded to that apology today.
I carry a lot of sympathy for Mr. Andriadis, and I carry a lot of sympathy for his family, and I carry a tremendous amount of sympathy for his children. That's what tugs at my heartstrings the most. But at the end of the day, I've had to be reminded, and I have to remind myself, well, we go home every day without our child. And, you know, there are consequences to actions.
4 years ago, texting while driving became a primary offense in the state of Florida, but investigative reporter Katie LaGrone recently found that Florida's texting while driving law is considered one of the weakest in the country, with fines starting at just $30 for a first offense. Now, this trial really did highlight the dangers of distracted driving. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, distracted driving claimed the lives of more than 3,500 people in 2021 alone. Tonight, Rebecca Petit with our Scripps station WFTS in Tampa has an in-depth look at what is being done to stop the dangerous behavior in the Tampa Bay area.
16-year-old Salma Tirado is getting one last practice in before taking her official road test. She'll be the first person in her friend group to get her driver's license.
Yeah, I'm gonna be driving them everywhere. Yeah.
The teen is learning that building good driving habits starts now because they'll stick with you.
When you have people in the car, try not to be paying attention to what they're saying to you. Try to have them be silent and stuff. And then not paying attention to your phone, having it somewhere where you won't be distracted by it.
That's the first thing that we go over is the distracted driving.
Cheryl Giles, the owner of Atlantic Driving School in Winter Haven, tells me the dangers of distracted driving is part of their 10-hour course.
So many different things that take their attention away. You have probably social media is the biggest thing. You know, they get a Snapchat or they get a text. So that is one of the biggest things that we do work with them on.
The distractions have only gotten more.
Giles says young drivers have way more distractions today than when Atlantic Driving School first opened more than 25 years ago.
We had AM, FM radios, you know, back then. We didn't have all these, we didn't have phones. We didn't have, you know, our phones alert us, our cars alert us when somebody's trying to contact us.
Anything that takes your attention away from driving can be a distraction. Sending a text, talking on a cell phone, using a navigation system, and eating while driving are a few examples.
Diverting your attention from the roadway, things happen, especially at higher speeds. You're moving so much of a distance and not realizing how far you traveled.
Florida law bans texting while driving and prohibits drivers from using handheld cell phones while driving in school and work zones. Sergeant Doug Mills, a motorcycle officer with the Lakeland Police Department, tells me enforcing the law can be challenging.
When someone's driving by at 50 miles an hour, it's going to be hard to see. So the way we typically enforce this is usually when we're in our vehicles, or in my case on a motorcycle, and you're actually riding next to the person. That way you're kind of matching speed. You could look over and you could actually see it.
According to the CDC, 9 people are killed in the U.S. every day in crashes that involved a distracted driver. To prevent this dangerous behavior, law enforcement officers suggest drivers use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to keep your hands free.
Because nothing's worse than getting into that traffic crash and causing serious bodily injury or fatality. It's not worth it.
That was Rebecca Petit reporting. Well, a new book ban is on the table for Palm Beach County schools tonight, as one parent is challenging the Bible under the newly extended Parental Rights and Education Act. Rabbi Barry Silver says the biblical book is violent and overtly sexual. He says he's trying to prove a point here, that if the state sets a standard on what books are allowed, that it should apply to all books, including the Bible. Now, the rabbi says that the superintendent rejected his request to challenge the Bible, which is why he is going to bring it in front of the school board, where they have to address it in a meeting next month. Well, coming up, it is getting hot out there, which means you might want to maybe take a dip in the water to cool off. But the color of your swimsuit could keep you even more safe. Also, this black bear was spotted walking around the Tampa International Airport this week. How wildlife officials finally caught him. Katie.
And showers and storms pretty active right now across parts of north into central Florida, but gradually winding down for the night. More waves of energy like this, though, will be affecting us as we head into the weekend. I'm updating that timeline for you coming up next.
According to the CDC, drowning is the leading cause of death for infants and young children, especially here in Florida. And with the warmer weather we are seeing, more people are wanting to get in the pool. Well, Dan Grossman went to a pool to see why something as simple as the type of swimsuit your child wears can save their life.
For many of us, the summer months are now here. That means boating, lakes, beaches, pools, childhood swim safety, a big focus for a lot of parents and families this year. We're at Akron Children's Hospital in Ohio. We're gonna go inside and they're gonna show us why something as simple as your child's swimsuit color can make a world of difference for their safety. Hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for taking the time and helping us organize this.
Heather.
Hi, Heather. I'm Dan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Heather Trunka is the injury prevention supervisor at Akron Children's Hospital. She and Casey Newman were kind enough to take us to the rehabilitation pool to show us why swimsuit color is such a big deal when it comes to protecting your kids.
Drowning doesn't look like what it does on TV. Kids aren't splashing around, yelling for help. They're bobbing right at the surface level.
Drowning is the leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 4. It is also the second leading cause of unintentional injury death for children ages 5 to 14. A recent analysis from Akron Children's Hospital and Alive Solutions shows how spotting your kids quickly by choosing brightly colored swimsuit colors can save their life if they are in need of help.
When we choose a swimsuit colors, those bright colors are really what we want to focus on. So the light pinks, the light blues, and the whites almost completely disappear.
Even white?
Even white especially is almost invisible in a pool.
This is the diagram from Alive Solutions. You can see the orange, yellows, and reds can be seen most easily when submerged only 18 inches underwater, but the whites and blues were not.
You want me to agitate?
Agitate.
Once you agitate the water as if kids were playing in it, it can make some of the swimsuits nearly invisible.
When we talk with parents about water safety when they're really little, is we want to make sure that they're always being watched. If a child goes missing, the first place we should look is a body of water because kids are drawn to the water.
According to Hackensack Meridian Health in New Jersey, a child can drown in as little as 20 seconds, the time it takes to get up and get a towel. It's why keeping a close eye on your child whenever they're in the water is critical, and picking a swimsuit color that makes them the most visible only helps with keeping your kids safe. Dan Grossman, Scripps News, Akron, Ohio.
That was absolutely fascinating for parents out there. And we know that a lot of kids are getting in the pool during these summer days. Let's go ahead and bring in certified meteorologist Katie Walls. That's because we are dealing with record heat this week.
Definitely some of the hottest and most humid air that we have felt so far. Take a look at how hot it's going to feel on your skin tomorrow. More like 106 degrees in Golden Gate, 105 for Immokalee. All of us feeling more like the triple digits. Sanibel, okay, we'll feel more like 99 degrees. But regardless of how you slice it, definitely one of those days you want to be near a nice, cool body of water. The only thing is we're going to be dealing with a bit more shower and storm action starting tomorrow, but especially into the weekend. First, let's take a live look outside. Nice, quiet conditions from Cape Coral atop the Fox 4 studios here right along Pine Island Road. Conditions nice and quiet. The only storms we had today farther inland, and that's going to be a bit of a change up as we start to head into tomorrow. So right now, live look at our satellite radar composite. We were watching this convective system diving out of North Florida, heading into Central Florida, but notice dying out as it does so as it nears I-4. So you can see all of those lightning strikes really starting to subside. By the time it reaches here, might just be a couple of sprinkles for the morning. But what you will notice some of, all of this cloud cover. So I am calling for more clouds, increasing cloud cover for tonight heading into tomorrow morning. But radar for us near home, nice and quiet. Head toward tomorrow morning right here, 7 a.m. This is our worst case scenario for the leftovers of that Sarasota, Charlotte, DeSoto counties. That's where we could see a couple of those sprinkles because of the remnants of that decaying system. Otherwise, as we look ahead to the afternoon, pretty quiet right here around lunchtime. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid, still feeling more like the triple digits. So please mind that heat. And then as we head toward 3 o'clock, still not too bad, but right here, basically after 5 o'clock, especially right here at 6, this is when our models are starting to hone in on that potential potential for showers and storms to roll through. So it's not going to be a washout by any means, but you will notice I have increased those rain chances for tomorrow evening because of this potential. So I do think we will have some showers and storms roll through, especially between, say, 5 to 8 p.m. And of course, I'll be tracking those for you every step of the way, starting on Fox 4 News at 5. But just want to give you that heads up, especially if you have outdoor Friday dinner plans. And then as we look ahead to Saturday and Sunday, rain chances really go up for all of us across the board, up to 70%. So heads up there. Heading into your Saturday afternoon, scattered showers and storms, fairly numerous, pretty widespread. Your weekend, again, it's not going to be a washout. There will be some dry slots. However, I am anticipating most of us to be affected at some point during the weekend by those showers and storms moving through. So those rain chances will be increasing as we head into the weekend, up to 70%, and I have bumped up tomorrow's rain chances to 40%, especially for the afternoon and evening based upon that latest data that I just showed you. For tonight, increasing clouds will drop down to 79, tomorrow up to 93, but feeling more like 103 because of that humidity. And even with those elevated storm chances over the weekend, still feeling like the triple digits.
All right, Katie, thank you. We'll take a look at this. A black bear was caught on camera walking around the Tampa International Airport perimeter fence yesterday. Employees first spotted the bear. Wildlife officials had to set up a trap in the northern area of the airport property to try and catch it. After an overnight stakeout and 2 failed attempts to tranquilize the bear, they were finally able to capture it. The bear was then brought to a preserve in Ocala. We'll be right back. Ahead on Fox 4 News at 11, short supply but a growing demand for a drug used to treat ADHD. How Lee Health officials say they're addressing an Adderall shortage tonight. Plus, one man is in the hospital after being shot at a Fort Myers apartment complex today. What we know about this investigation so far. And the new superintendent for Charlotte County Schools started this week. The priorities he's tackling first. Coming up on Fox 4 News at 11, we'll also get a live update from certified meteorologist Katie Walls. You're getting a live look now overlooking the Caloosahatchee River. Maybe thinking about headed out on the water this weekend? Well, your rain chances are going up. We'll talk more about it coming up on Fox 4 News at 11.